We will now begin the City of Boynton Beach City Commissioners meeting today, Tuesday, July 2nd, 2019 at 6:32 p.m. Would everyone please rise for an invocation from Pastor Ash from First Presbyterian Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Vice Mayor Katz.
Let us pray for the citizens and leaders of First Boynton Beach. God of justice and mercy, thank you for the gift of life and the opportunity to serve the people of our city. Help us to act with character and conviction. Help us to listen with understanding and goodwill. Help us to speak with charity and restraint. Give us a spirit of service. Remind us that we are stewards of your authority. Guide us to be the leaders your people need. Help us to see the humanity and dignity of those who disagree with us and to treat all persons with the reverence your creation deserves. And finally, renew us with the strength of your presence and the joy of helping to build a community worthy of the human person. We ask this as your sons and daughters, confident in your goodness and love. Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Stephen B. Grant,
Here.
Vice Mayor Justin Katz, Commissioner Mac McCray,
Here.
Commissioner Christina Romulus,
Present.
Commissioner Ty Pensurga.
Here.
There is a quorum.
Thank you. Additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda?
Mayor?
Yes.
In light of the recent, or not so recent attacks on the cyber infrastructure of various municipalities across the country, I would like to take some time today to hear from staff to see our general position on IT defenses. Perhaps under informational or new business?
Staff prepared to speak? Okay. So we'll put that under new business 11A.
And Mayor, if the
Yes.
commission would allow on future agenda items, just an update from the city attorney on the Quantum Park Overlay Dependent District and the progress that's been made there.
That still on, or do we take that off?
I don't, is it on there?
Okay.
No.
Okay, so we'll put that back on.
Thank you.
Mayor, under announcements, I'd like to request an update from the Chief of Police regarding the new no texting while driving law that's been implemented.
Mind if we put that in new business after the IT update?
Sure.
And also, I received a request to put under approved tuition for Commissioner Romulus to attend the Palm Beach County Leadership Engaged program, and I'd like to put that on as 11C.
Mayor, on the Quantum Park item
Yeah.
for future agenda, we'll be ready to make that report at the next meeting if you want to move it to legal under, so it would appear on the agenda under legal as a report.
Are you,
Show as a future agenda item.
Yeah, otherwise
Have
we'll
it-
be an extra meeting off to make the report. We'll be ready next time.
okay.
will be on.
Vice Mayor, is that good?
Please.
All right. I received a thumbs up, which means we'll be off. Remember, we have to speak in the microphone. Anything else for the agenda? All
Not
right.
for the agenda, but we haven't started pulling consent, have we?
No, we have not.
Thank you.
All right. Is everyone okay? May I have a motion to approve as amended?
So move.
Do I have a second? All those in favor? State so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none. Motion, the agenda is approved unanimously. Informational items by members of the City Commission. Vice Mayor Katz.
None of this, John, just a happy Independence Day for everybody.
Commissioner McCray.
You know what the vice mayor said, I'd like to tell you all, thank you for waiting 2 minutes for me. I promise I will give it back to you with my comments. Thank you.
Commissioner Romulus.
I will take advantage of Vice Mayor and Commissioner McCray's time. Just a few quick things to announce. First of all, happy belated Father's Day to everyone. Apologize if I didn't get a chance to announce that during the month of June. And happy early 4th of July to everybody. Today is an exciting day because of the fact that we have, as a nation, the country of Haiti will be going against the country of Mexico for the Gold Cup. And this is something that, maybe a few of you have no idea and care less about it, but some other people are really, really excited about this. This is a very historic game. This is the first time that Haiti as a nation has ever made it to this level. So we will actually be hosting a watch party here in Boynton Beach at the RC Caribbean restaurant on Congress. It's right next to the Chuck E. Cheese there. So we'll be there and, food and drinks and rooting for Haiti to win. So if any of you are available, feel free to join us for that. I'm excited about that. That's all I have for now, Mayor. Thank you very much.
All right. Commissioner Pensurga.
Heard me mention in the last meeting, Future 6 is the nonprofit that organizes these free ocean-based therapy for kids. I had a wonderful time. The turnout was great, and I just want to say, I walked in there thinking that you needed to know how to surf, but what that day was about was making sure that kids, no matter where they were in the spectrum, just felt like kids, and that they were treated normally, and that they had a great time. And I think that really moved me, so I want to thank Wally and Debbie Majors for organizing and bringing that kind of partnership to our city. That meant a great deal to me, and I'm sure last weekend I had the opportunity to demo the hydro flight that Eleanor has organized as part of our Independence Day celebration. It was a challenge. The pressure was unbelievable. If you haven't seen the video, it's floating around on, Instagram and Facebook. And I also want to mention there was an act of kindness that I don't let these things by. When I fell into the water, the pressure really, in my ears made me very dizzy. And that Eleanor drove me home, and Laura, and I appreciate that. These acts of kindness are remembered. Third and finally, while we were doing the hydro flight, something happened in my personal life, and I'm really proud of it, so I just want to share it briefly. But I have been working as part of my thesis on a project to uncover the reasons why Alzheimer's drugs have been failing. And that work has just been published in the journal known as Frontiers of Neuroscience. So I'm very proud of that.
Herb, you got to sit down. You have to wait.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah. All right. For myself, on June 19th, I attended the Coalition of Boynton West Residential Associations. On June 20th, I attended a meeting with David Scott for the United States Department of Economic Development Administration, and that evening attended a FDOT meeting regarding the repaving of US 1. On June 22nd, I attended the Stonewall Ball held by Compass. On June 24th, I went to the Milagro Center and learned about their nonprofit inside a affordable housing community. On June 26th, I attended the Palm Beach County League of Cities meeting, and June 27th, attended the Palm Trans Service Board. And that is it for me. Is there any further information to disclose by the Commission?
I have one comment, and that's for Commissioner Ty Pensurga. That is that I'm glad you made it from your hydroplaning. I could cancel your life insurance I took out on you now. Thank you.
All right.
You're terrible.
Moving on to announcements, community and special events and presentations. Our first announcement is the budget workshops for 2019-20 proposed budget. The budget workshops are at Intracoastal Park Clubhouse, Monday, July 15, 2019 at 5 p.m., Tuesday, July 16, 2019 at 10 a.m., and Wednesday, July 17, 2019 at 2 p.m. if needed. Our next is announce the Summer Youth Institute Internship Program with Boynton Beach Utilities, Pathway to Prosperity, Genesis Community Health, and All Girls United, Inc., sponsored by Healthier Boynton Beach.
Commission. My name is Joe Paternetti, Utility Director, and the utility is very pleased to be part of this program. And I'd like to turn it over to our Field Operations Manager who's running the program for us, and he can describe what's going on.
Good evening. First, on behalf of Tremaine Johnson, Field Operations Manager
Thank you.
for the utility. First, I would like to say to the mayor, to vice mayor, to the commissioners, and also to our wonderful city manager, we'd like to thank you for this opportunity on behalf of the utilities for allowing us to be a part of this wonderful program. We've partnered with Pathways to Prosperity, Healthy of Boynton Beach, and also All Girls United. We've had 10 participants this year. For the past 3 years, I've been the lead on behalf of utilities for our part on the program. The kids come in ages 15 to 18, and we've opened up all 5 facets of field operations to them. They have training in all areas, including the East Water Treatment Plant. I really believe that these kids should be commended on how they handle themselves, they conducted themselves. They've been engaged in doing all of the training, and I think it's a great opportunity to provide this opportunity for individuals in our community. And it is our goal for the utility to possibly have this to be a recruiting grounds of sorts for future employment. I'll turn it over to Mr. Petty.
Before you go, in regards to commending the kids, let them know we commend them. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, again, thank you all for this opportunity. My name is Ricky Petty. I'm the project director for Healthier Boynton Beach. And it was our pleasure to be able to bridge this partnership with the city as well as the other organizations that we're working with. And Healthier Boynton Beach is a health initiative funded through Palm Health Foundation. And our goal is to improve the lives of family caregivers right here in Boynton Beach. So we do that in 3 different ways. One is we raise awareness. We want to make sure that family caregivers self-identify and they are aware that they're a family caregiver. 2, we want to also provide them with resources and services and inform them of those resources and services. And thirdly, we want to make sure that we promote health and wellness throughout the community as it relates to family caregivers. So with that, we've been doing multiple different activities, many different things to improve and move forward the efforts. We provided $33,000 to the community by supporting 9 different programs in the area, and they're all working towards efforts to help us move family caregivers forward. We also did a lot of other things, and this is just one of the other additions that we're doing, and I'll let Ms. Brianna talk about the program with the Summer Youth Institute.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you very much for the opportunity. My name is Brianna Kamek-Lauren. I'm the president and founder of All Girls United, which is a nonprofit organization, mentorship for young ladies between the ages of 12 to 18. This year, we had the amazing opportunity to spearhead the Summer Youth Institute program. The Summer Youth Institute program is in total 8-week program where youth get an opportunity to work with businesses in the city of Boynton for 6 weeks, and for 2 Saturdays, they had the opportunity to attend workshops where they not only learned about caregivers in the community, but also what it means to start your own business and go into entrepreneurship as well as be an employee. So they learned important things such as building a resume, what it looks like to also build relationships even if you don't get the job. And it was just it's been a very fun experience. And here are some of our youth today. And Dakota Grow, he's been working with the city of Boynton for these past 4 weeks, and he's going to tell you about his experience. Thank you again.
How's everyone doing? I'm Dakota Grow. And as far as the city of Boynton goes and what the program has done for me, it's opened a lot of opportunities that I didn't have before the program. And I will start working with the city of Boynton after I graduate high school. I'm going to be a junior this year. So I'm very excited for that because it's opened a lot of windows in my life, and I've made connections with people that I didn't even know existed, and it's going to help me with my future. And I'd just like to thank you on behalf of the city of Boynton. So.
Let me ask a question. On the All Girls United, it's open to everybody?
Not to me,
I'm
no.
thrown off up here.
Anyone else has comments? So I have a quick question. It's already in process, and so how did the information get out to the public? This question isn't for you, Dakota. And don't worry about it. So I guess, yeah.
As far as the information, basically what happened was we had information on social media. We also disseminated it throughout the community. The only challenge that we have, because funding is limited, we can only provide for, we have 15 slots. So the slots filled up relatively quickly.
Okay.
But we did get the information out to the community, and it filled up. But we're hoping that we can get some type of funding subsidies in the future so that we can open it up to more kids here in Boynton Beach.
All right, thanks, Ricky.
No
Appreciate
problem.
it. All right. Does the commission have any other questions? Seeing none? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next announcement is the additional event components, the City of Boynton Beach 4th of July event by Eleanor Crisell, Public Communications and Marketing Director.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Eleanor Crisell, Marketing Director. The day after tomorrow, the City of Boynton Beach will be celebrating its 4th of July right here at Intracoastal Park. And we have a couple of new activities that we want to tell you about that we've had since the last commission meeting that have been new to the program. And forgive me because I forgot my hard copy, so I'm reading my computer. On June 14th, WPTV, Channel 5, aired a story on a very special and talented 9-year-old Miles. Miles is blind, and he's an amazing guitarist. Oh, John's going to give it a shot to see if you can see the story. We love you, John. We love you, John. Okay. It's okay, we get the gist. I appreciate it, John, so much. After this story aired, we reached out to Miles and his family, and we're proud to announce tonight that he'll be on the small stage during the 4th of July and be performing. So we're very happy with him. And what's good about that is WPTV will come and do a roundup story that we have him as a debut here at the 4th of July. It was also suggested at the last commission meeting that we reach out to Tom Keisner regarding our volunteer involvement in the 4th of July. We spoke with Tom, and he indicated that many of the volunteers were older and couldn't attend, and that the noise of the fireworks may impact their memories. So we wanted to thank the veterans. He asked us that we could do that from the main stage, and we said, yes, we'll do that from both main stages. We also ordered veteran lapel pins that we're going to give each vendor that attends. All they have to do is come to the information booth, put it on. We hope that everybody that's at the event will thank a veteran. And then in response to a story on June 26 that aired on WPEC, the Forgotten Soldiers Outreach, which is located in Lake Worth, was desperate for letters from children for the soldiers. They create care packages and send them to the soldiers. So we reached out to the executive director and told her that we will set up a table at the 4th of July so that people can send letters. She'll be picking them up on the 5th and putting them in the care packages to send to our soldiers. WPEC is also setting a photographer to follow up on that story that the City of Boynton Beach stepped up to the plate and jumped to action when that need was there. Lastly, and I did leave a little sample, the Facebook page, Palm Beach Rocks, decorated 15 rocks for us, and we're going to be hiding them throughout the ICP during the 4th of July, so if they find their rock there, they can keep it. It's a momentum of the 4th of July in Boynton Beach. And they also have a table under the pavilion for children to paint their own rocks and take them with them as mementos this year. Lastly, we just want to emphasize one more time that parking is limited at ICP, so we encourage everybody to take buses that are located at City Hall and at Journey Church, beginning at 5:30. They're air-conditioned, ADA compliant, so we're encouraging everybody that can to do that or to take a ride share, which is right next door at the Boat Club. And again, please visit our website at boynton-beach.org and follow us on social media. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any questions? Where are the alternative parking locations from?
Alternative parking, we have parking at ICP or we have parking at the Boat Club. We encourage everybody to take the buses from City Hall, our current City Hall, as well as Journey Church.
Okay, and when was the last bus leave before the fireworks display?
They're run continuously. There's 4 buses. They start at 5:30, so they continuously run. And then afterwards, until everybody's on the bus and back, we anticipate 10:30.
Okay, and so 9 o'clock is the expected start time for the fireworks?
It is totally the start time. It's a computerized. We have no option.
Okay.
9 o'clock. And it's a 20-minute show.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Our next announcement is to proclaim July as Recreation and Parks Month. City of Boynton Beach Proclamation. Whereas parks and recreation programming enhance our quality of life by contributing to healthy lifestyles, building community, creating economic development, and encouraging environmental stewardship. Recreation creates opportunities for people of all ages and cultures to participate in activities that encourage health, education, and social interaction. And whereas parks and recreation programs boost the economy, enhance property values, attract new business, increase tourism, and reduce crime, recreation builds family unity, strengthens neighborhoods, involvement, offers opportunity for social interaction, enhances education, develops creativity, and promotes cultural diversity. And whereas parks, trails, and open spaces provide encounters in nature, maintenance of clean air, and the protection of plant and animal wildlife. Whereas the therapeutic, recreation, and leisure education are essential to the rehabilitation of individuals who have been ill or disabled. And whereas Florida recognizes the benefits derived from quality public and private recreation and park resources at the local and state level. The business of parks and recreation boosts the economy, enhances property values, attracts new business, and increases tourism. And whereas the National Recreation and Park Association and the Florida Recreation and Park Association have designated July as Recreation and Parks Month. Now therefore, I, Stephen B. Grant, Mayor of the City of Boynton Beach, Florida, do hereby proclaim the month of July 2019 as Recreation and Parks Month.
Good evening, Wally Majors, Recreation and Parks Director. I would just urge you to pick up a copy of Fun for Magazine featuring our beautiful July 4th event from last year, and have fun and recreate. Thank you very much. And we make life fun, of course. Thank you.
Mayor?
Thank you.
Yes.
May I just speak for a second? I just want to thank Wally and also Mary DeGraff and Wright, along with the rest of the parks personnel and public works personnel who helped with helping us kick off our inaugural Meet Your Neighbor event, picnic/barbecue at Seacrest Estates. It was even though we got rained out, it was pretty well attended. The mayor came. Thank you, Mayor, for being there. The Chief Gregory back there came. It was just a phenomenal event, and I just want to thank you and thank Mary for just making the park beautiful and helping bring our neighbors together. So that all of that would have been possible without you. So thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Last announcement is a certificate of completion to Commissioner Christina Romulus for completing the Advanced Institute for Elected Municipal Officials. Here you go.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to say to Commissioner Romulus, I want to tell you personally, thank you. I am also a member, and I want to tell you that for the rest of you that's sitting up here, it's an institute that you all need to attend, because I want you all to know that's how I got to be so smart sitting up here. You learn a lot. I'm serious. You learn a lot, and I'm glad that you stepped out and kept going and keep on going. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mayor?
Yes.
I'll keep it brief. I just want to, emphasize on the fact that I'm an educator by profession, so feeling the need to continue to educate myself and elevate my knowledge to better serve the residents of Boynton Beach is something that's important to me, and it's imperative, I feel, for my level of leadership to benefit the residents in this city. So I do appreciate the support of the commission for allowing me to go to these different training seminars, and every single time that I come back, I feel a whole lot more empowered and emboldened to continue to serve the residents in the new innovative ways that we find. We have government sometimes that we think it's kind of like watching paint dry, but sometimes we do have innovative and creative things that we can do to help improve the lives of our residents, and I think that's what we as elected officials are elected to do. So I plan on continuing to do that, and thank you all for the support.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to public audience. Individual speakers will be limited to 3-minute presentations. Please state your name and address for the record first.
David Katz, 67 Midwood Lane. First, Commissioner Pensurger, I don't think your microphone has been on the whole time you've been speaking. It's kind of hard to hear you. I'd appreciate if item D on the consent agenda would be pulled for public input when you get to that. And I hope I'm not the only person in the room who realized that the young man was covering Jimi Hendrix. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Charles Cantor, Kanter, 2905 South Greenleaf Circle, Boynton Beach, Florida, 33426, and the nicest little community in town. A couple things I'd like to talk about tonight. Number one is charter revisions, which is coming up pretty soon. Right now, we have term limits. Now, term limits are terrific. We really need them. We really need them in the U.S. Senate, but I won't go there. All right. What I would like to see is a little bit more flexibility in there. Let's get for instance, let's allow somebody to run for mayor after they've had their 2 sessions in the commission. By the same token, I'd love to see the mayor run for the commission after his 2nd session is up. So that, could you please put that on the agenda? The second thing I'd like to talk about is also has to do with voting. It has to do with our districts. Our districts are really very esoteric, especially to the people that live there. For instance, in District 4, in my district, we were doing a lot of work through the whole district until we suddenly found out that half the district had been cut off and put into District 1. All the way, instead of our district ending at the canal, it suddenly ended at Gateway. And we lost that whole Renaissance area and all area, beautiful area that was cows when we first moved here, and now is fully developed. And we lost that all on Congress. So we, lost that. Then, of course, we're doing some other parts in our district, District 4, and we suddenly discovered that High Ridge Road and the charter school and all that was suddenly back in District 2. And as an election worker, we found that nobody showed up there because the people who are east of Route 95 in District 2 didn't even know High Ridge Road existed and all that stuff. I mean, we need a little bit more flexibility in this. What I would suggest would be that we have open elections. In other words, that you vote for everybody. That not just your district, but on election day, you vote for everybody. In everybody's district. You vote for four different people there. Okay, so that you can think about that for the agenda. One little tidbit also the district, I'm not sure whether it's 4 or whether it's 2, is the junction of High Ridge Road and Minor Road. Minor Road ends at High Ridge Road there, and since the 15 years I've lived here, it has changed from strictly country to now urban. A traffic circle would be the perfect way to fix that. Instead of a traffic light, a circle. Thank you very much. I appreciate your service. I really love you guys.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Ray Whiteley, 223 Northeast 12th Street. Before I even 12th Avenue, Boynton Beach. I'm sorry. Before I go
Ray,
into
let me interrupt you. Is there anything that we can do about the sound? I can't. It sounds like they're talking underwater. I can't hear them at all.
Don't talk so close.
Right.
Thank you. I thought it
How
was
about
just me
now?
with age.
Yeah.
I'm glad
That's a little bit better.
Okay. Because I was going to donate a couple $100 just for a sound system.
We'll take it.
We'll take it.
I really was, because we have great people in the districts and in Boynton Beach who do rent these things, and if I could talk to somebody about just helping out with that, I've been to a couple meetings and it's just difficult to hear. You know? So the conversation that I had with a few people outside of Boynton Beach just a couple weeks ago was how unique we are as far as how the districts are really set up. Not very many cities have the opportunities that we have. District 2, they vote for the representative for District 2, vice versa. So we really have to embrace that as a luxury that we have in Boynton, that we could put people that will represent us in those seats. I don't know if I'm making sense. I'm making sense? Okay. So here is why I came tonight. Having that conversation, the other conversation came up about having the opportunity to further the progress that we've made as a dais. Congratulations, Ty. I've been cheering for you. I haven't been out showing up, but we have people that sit here that write notes and share with us everything. So congratulations, Christina. Great job, Justin. Great job. But how do we continue this progress, right? We're afraid that in 3 years, what we have built here and the progress that we see here will be termed out. Then we have other people that come in with different ideas, and we're not able to do the things that we see that are happening great, and the progress stops. So that's the concern. What I'm asking for is I'm requesting the commission to consider allowing the commissioners to run for mayor immediately after their terms are completed, and vice versa, allowing mayors to run for commission. That way, everything just continues. If the voters don't like it, then they just won't vote for you. But now they don't have that opportunity at all. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to really share. And I got 56 more seconds that I could talk about something else. We're doing a great job. We are. We're doing a great job. I see this new city building going up, and I'm proud. I'm proud. I'm sharing the excitement when the Facebook posts go up and the videos go up and the pictures go up, and I'm like, my goodness, man. Directly or indirectly, I was a part of that change. So thank you. I'm really hoping that we could put this on some type of vote or some type of conversation, that this group of young people who we have here with an excellent vision for Boynton Beach and the leadership that we have are allowed to continue it into other years if they see fit. So thank you very much, and God bless you all.
Thank you.
Seconds to spare. Alan Hendricks, 122 Southeast 4th Avenue. Good evening, Commissioners, Mr. Mayor, City staff. Thank you all for your service, as always. I'd like to say that I agree, and here's my concern. I'm well pleased with our current commission. I think that our policy as elections, we shoot ourselves in the foot, if you will. This is not about this particular commission. It's about the policy of the city. I would like to see us go from a 2 terms mandatory, go sit out, to a 2 terms in each position, if you will, either a commissioner or a mayor's position. And the reason being is not because I like this city commission, even though I do. The reason is it feels to me to be self-defeating for the city once we get people in. I've been involved in a lot of elections. It's not always easy to find great talent. I think there is a check. I believe in term limits. I believe there is a check, and I've seen it happen in the city through all these different elections when it's time, when the people have decided who they want to sit on the dais, they'll speak. So I'm not concerned about having an environment where we just continue to recycle and recycle. I don't think that's healthy. But I do think it is, and I also don't think it's healthy that we automatically turn people out and make them sit out, especially when we get some momentum going, when we have a continuum of progress and things are firing all 8 cylinders. I think it's just not in the benefit of the city for us to demand a timeout. So with that, I think I've said my piece. I will leave you to make your decisions. I would like for it, possibly to go out for a referendum or not. The cities get to make up their rules on how we run our elections and how that happens. I've talked to the mayors or the electeds in Delray and in Lake Worth. I don't suggest we do like Lake Worth, but Delray seems to be working pretty well. Thank you.
Susan Oyer, 140 Southeast 27th Way. I wanted to say congratulations to Samir Ahmed of Boynton Beach Community High School, who received the Palm Beach County Property Appraiser's Office $1,500 scholarship that was announced today if you get your thing from the property appraiser and read it. Congratulations to him. He's going to Embry-Riddle University. Yay. Second, I mentioned this idea to the mayor while I was visiting our potential new sister city in Farindola, Italy. When the new city hall opens and the CRA offices move over to it, please let's consider converting the CRA building to a tourist information office. Delray has one, we do not. And it'd be a great place to also promote our sister cities and sell their products. I was very lucky when I was in Farindola. They make organic olive oil, organic honey, a couple different types, and the best part is they make a pecorino cheese that is unique to them and found nowhere else in the world. It's made only by women, and their production process is unique. It's a sheep cheese. It's outstanding. If you want to come over to my house, book an appointment to have some. The mayor was over the other day with a Sister Cities meeting, and he got to have some. So please check this out. I think it's a wonderful idea and would be a great way to promote our sister cities and our relationship if we're able to sell products from these sister cities. And my last thing, I wasn't expecting to say this. I am quite distressed that people actually think this is a good idea to promote a dictatorship over a democracy. We have term limits for a reason. While I like everyone on the board, that doesn't mean I think it should be an endless round of nonstop anyone being on the board. Some of these same people who are advocating this, were screaming about Jerry Taylor having been here so many times or whoever else has been up here so many times. So you can't have your cake and eat it too. And these are really great people up here. That doesn't mean they won't be great in their next position. I do think that ending our term limits is the wrong thing to do. Dictatorships never work. And that means you should start looking now to find the next great person to replace the great people up here as they move on to their next positions, or move back to regular life because maybe they're sick of this, who knows. So I would say that is a very bad thing to do because you're just going to sit up here And what if they changed and do something completely different than they've been doing the last few years? Now all of a sudden you've got a dictator situation, and then you're the one screaming, let's get them out. Oh my gosh, why did we ever do this? There's a reason why there's term limits at all levels of government, and I think that would be the wrong thing to do. So, and the only way to get new blood in and to make sure that we have new ideas and we're moving forward, and yes, they're all wonderful and they're all great. That doesn't mean they need to be here forever, though. So, thank you.
Arkansas 1711 Woodford. Well,
Got to step a little bit back.
okay. A lot of people have stole my thunder. I was going to speak about this too. It looks like it's mental telepathy. However, to spin the ball a little differently, everybody up there knows I'm against term limits. Term limits, if I don't want you up there, I'll vote against you. I'll vote you out and go around and help other people vote you out. I believe in a choice, in a free choice of people electing for people I want. I have stated before, everyone up, including the new commissioner, Commissioner Presenja, this is the best commission that we've ever had, period. And I'm going to miss McCoy. I'm sorry.
It's still
I'm going to miss
McCray.
McCray. Oh, no, McCoy, I like McCoy. He was a good commissioner. McCray, I'm going to miss your funny stuff. So what I would like to see, everybody up there can run. I'm against term limits. If I got something good, I'm going to keep it. If I don't want you, like I said before, I'll vote you the heck out. Okay? Period. If that being said, at least to keep a comprehensive ball rolling, at least one commissioner should be up there able to run for mayor. And if we don't want him, or her, or whoever it is, don't vote for him. So you'll get a new commission. But we need continuity. Everyone up there has gotten a straight A for my report cards. So if I'm given a straight A report card, what the hell do I want to get rid of you guys? And the funny man up there, I'm going to miss you. Yeah, I'm going to miss the jokes. Okay, with that being said, Commissioner Presenza, I spoke to you earlier this evening. You know my situation. I went up for an infusion again. I committed a half a year. I got another year and a half to go on the second go-around. Thank God so far. I get some headaches, but that's par for the course. But we're going into a new building in probably late September, early October. I would like to bring you to the new building, introduce you to the head of our department, and this guy, Dr. Watson, is beyond belief. More and more people are coming in and being treated well. The next thing that I do want to say is that what's happening on our southern borders is pathetic. They're in children in cages, can't get toothpaste, unhealthy. These are human beings, these are kids. And let's be honest about it. And this July 4th, we're going to have a dictatorship running, having tanks and a military parade to start his re-election. It's going to cost tens of millions of dollars. That could be done to help people and the people on the southern border. Vote the Republicans out.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Stephanie Hayden, ADMO. I reside at 2181 Southwest 15th Avenue, condo N102, Boynton Beach, Florida, 33426. This evening I wasn't going to stand up to speak, but I was a little alarmed by something that a gentleman came and then another gentleman came, and I know Ms. Oyer, I follow you on Twitter, and I know she has her degree in history, I believe, but you teach science. So my two favorite subjects that I had when I was growing up was science and history. I did really well in both of those subjects, but I end up going to Howard University to study biology and chemistry. Now, where does that lead me? It leads me to this, right? It's great that Everyone applauds the people that are up there, and they're doing fabulous jobs. That's why some people were reelected. That's why we had new individuals that came on, because Mr. Costello moved forward. Now, we live in a great country called the United States. I immigrated here in the 80s, and the reason why my parents came here legally was because they saw opportunities here to build this country also. Now, living in Boynton Beach, like the gentleman said, it's unique. It's very unique. It's not a Delray, it's not a Boca Raton, it's not a West Palm. So if we are for the people, by the people, our mission to make this community one of happiness and prosperity, we don't need to limit people's ability to choose their elected official. So whatever it says in our ordinance, that's the way it should stay. If the people come by way of voting or petition that they want those individuals on the platform now to remain, then you can run at large. And then if you don't want to, you can resign from your position and run at large. There's nobody that's going to come in here and dictate for anybody to state that because you're youthful, that you have better ideas than those that are here. That would be putting ageism against experience, and that's not appropriate. And I get it. Mr. Taylor was here for a considerable amount of time, and the news flash was, oh, and someone young and fresh, and that doesn't mean anything, because you can be young and naive and make unwise decisions like we've seen. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak under public comments? If not, we will close them and move on to administrative.
I just did a moment because I taught government for a long time, so I'm intrigued by all this. One of the speakers said that through telepathy or some other sort of worldly power or supernatural power, everyone came together tonight on the same topic. I suspect it might not have been such a supernatural coincidence. But to my point, to the two issues that were brought up, because again, I taught this for some time, the elimination of single-member districts would mean the elimination of the ability for populations in certain parts of the city to ever elect anyone who lives within their area of the city. So single-member districts exist so that if I can rally a giant number of votes in District 1, I can't simultaneously ticket up and elect someone to represent what would have been District 2. So single-member districts came into existence to ensure that the people voting for representation in their area got to choose someone from their area, not just the most densely populated area of a city or a state, or for that matter. And then with regards to the term limit conversation, in my decade plus in the classroom, you can't find a poll in the past 20 years where a single outcome was that people wanted to remove term limits. There's been a trend in this country, mostly perpetuated by the fact that Congress doesn't have term limits, that career politicians, someone said over time, you might like them today, but in 10 or 20 years, they might just become another career politician. I don't think that those changes are beneficial, and enough people spoke on this that I was concerned that it might get written about by the media, and I wanted to make sure my 2 cents were included in this. As a government teacher all these years, I don't know if making it so people can run in perpetuity is a solution when one of the biggest problems in this country we have is career politicians in Washington, D.C. So I'm a fan of our system. I think 6 years up here is a substantial amount of time, and if you want to serve another 6 years, you just got to sit 3 out. It's not like you have to wait 10 years or 20 years. So just for the record on those 2 points, because enough people talked about it, I wanted to throw my 2 cents in. Thank you.
And Commissioner Ramos?
Mayor, I'll just jump in. I definitely do agree with Commissioner or Vice Mayor Katz in terms of his statements where, we have the district-wide. If you remember, Boynton Beach used to be citywide a few decades back, and there was a reason for why that change was made, and I'm in full support of maintaining that and making sure that each district allows the opportunity to elect their representative. I believe what Mr. Cantor probably was trying to emphasize was just the fact that there are some confusions in terms of the ways that the lines are demarcated, and that may perhaps be something that can be addressed as redistricting occurs after the census. But one thing I would just ask staff in terms of, since this has been brought up by several members of the public, is to just bring back some research or bring back some information for us to look at perhaps how other cities nearby do it in terms of perhaps like Delray or nearby cities and how they basically run their allowing for commissioners and mayors and how that whole process works. I think it's something to just at least take a look at and investigate, and then we can at least have a discussion on it and see where we can go. If that's something that the public would like to pursue, then we give it back to the public to allow for them to make that decision. But I believe we, as a commission, we simply are here to take directive from the public and allow for them to make that decision.
So, based upon your comments, Commissioner Romulus, you'd like to have a future agenda item regarding what our charter states for our election and other cities, municipalities' charters?
Yes, we can definitely have that, and I would also definitely just like to see some research brought back in terms of how, based on some of these comments, but not basically violating the entire term limits conversation, something like this could be enacted. So I am, again, somebody who does believe in term limits, especially when you look at how Congress does things. I would definitely encourage that we maintain our term limits here in the city, but I do agree that there may be possibilities for some vertical mobility, and that potentially might allow for members to serve within different capacities here in the city. So I think it's something to at least just take a look at and research.
So,
I'd request that get put to a vote, because since I'm not in favor of either of the recommendations, I would vote no.
okay, so I'm going to state the motion, if you'd like to move it, is that we put a future item on future agenda to discuss the city's charter regarding elected officials, period. So,
Or is that that's the motion? It's fine.
so do I have a second? All right.
For discussion, I will second it.
Okay.
I'm open to hearing information from staff.
All right.
And I
But
think
this is not by any means an endorsement. I simply want to hear what staff has to say.
I think that's what I'm asking.
Okay.
City Attorney could bring some things back for us.
All right. And then I agree as well. One of the things that, I mentioned in this past regarding our expenses is that I see a lot of other cities and counties raising the rates for elected officials, because one of the ways you get qualified people to run is you pay them for if they are qualified. So, is there any further discussion before I call a vote? Seeing none, all those in favor state so by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
Motion passes 3-2 to have a future agenda item regarding the charter of Boynton Beach's, the provisions of our charter regarding elected officials compared to other municipalities.
Mayor, since that's almost out the way, I'd like to have my 2 cents put in too, so we have 4 cents sitting up here. In regards to term limits, I am in favor of term limits. I'm just saying, 6 years, and you've done the best that you can. I think that's great. I'm just saying, let's get some new blood. And I've been hearing tonight that, we got all young people sitting up here, and that they're doing such an excellent job. But, I want to tell the young people, thank you for letting the old guys sit up here and you all work with me. I think I'm doing an excellent job as well. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, you are, Commissioner.
And yeah, we'll echo your comments. All right. Is there any more comments from the board? If not, we're moving on to administrative. Appoint individual members. We have 2 alternate positions available for the Building Board of Adjustments and Appeals. We have 1 regular position on the Education Youth Advisory Board. Quick question, if I appoint an alternate to a regular, could we appoint 2 alternates at tonight's meeting? Okay, so I'd like to move up Corey Voce from alternate to a regular position on the Education and Youth Advisory Board.
Second.
All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Then we have Vice Mayor Katz, who has the next position to appoint someone on the Education Youth Advisory Board.
I table it. I wasn't preparing to make the alternate off the top of my head.
Okay. And then I'm going to move to the name that is not on the board for Commissioner McCray. for Education and Youth Advisory Board alternate?
I'm going to taper mine as well. I'm just saying, I don't want to rush anything.
Okay. And so any of those applicants can have their position for next meeting, and if anybody else wants to apply, they also have that opportunity. We have one alternate position available for the Historic Resources Preservation Board, 2 alternates available for the Library Board, 1 alternate available for the Senior Advisory Board. Moving on to consent agenda, we've been asked to request to pull item D. I'd also like to request to pull item A. Is there any other items to be requested to pull from consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The remainder of the consent agenda is approved. Item A, proposed resolution number R19-069, authorize the city manager to enter into, I think it's different now, authorize the city manager to enter a 3-year agreement with the Garing Group for insurance broker services, the estimated total 3-year cost of $210,000. I looked at the score sheet regarding the 3 applicants, and the second place applicant was 6 points behind and also $27,500 less. And so with that, I didn't see a vast difference between the 1 and 2, except that the price for number 2 was significantly lower. And, I would like to nominate them to receive the award for $42,500 because the rankings were very close. They are responsible and responsive, and our duty is to pick the best use for the taxpayers' dollars. And so, I guess, Tim, is that something that we can do, select the second place?
Tim Howard, Assistant City Manager. What you have in front of you is results from an RFP,
Yep.
which price is a component of the evaluation, and there's 3 or 4 other categories.
Yep.
3 reviewers reviewed, scored. You have the summary score. It's at the commission level with the recommendation for what came out of the committee. The commission has the authority to re-rank and award to what vendor they wish. We just go by the numbers as it comes forward to you.
Commissioner McCray.
Thank you. I'm not in favor of, moving on this with re-ranking. I'm just saying because this is someone that we use. I understand that you're trying to look to save money, but this is a firm that we know about and they have given us experience. I like to at least pay for experience. They have been here. I'm in favor of what the committee brought back to us. That's what I'm going to vote tonight.
So, yeah. Is there any other comments from the board? So because I requested a poll, I will pass the gavel to the Vice Mayor to make the motion to re-rank the rulings with, what was their name?
Discussion?
Yes.
I want to hear from staff, or at least one of the members who sat on the committee, as terms of if they feel that this would be a proper move. And I know that they're only 6 points apart, so does that 6 points make a difference? Do they really feel like Garrick would be the best choice, or does that second ranked group offer us just the same amount of,
I
what we
think
need?
the members have reviewed and ranked them and scored them. As the mayor said, there's 6 points difference out of the 4 categories. The second lowest ranked got higher scores for pricing because the pricing was lower for them. Gearing scored higher in a couple of the categories. They were all responsive and being ranked, and they're all reviewed and ranked. The commission's recommendation is really based on the summary scores. So at this point, it's really up to the commission if they want to take that recommendation or if they want to choose one of the other ones.
How many points were awarded in the equation for the cost component?
The cost was $25 maximum points. I mean, all firms were responsive, so
And that's kind of it, is that I feel that all of these insurance brokers have the same access to the same insurance plans. And if one is $27,000 cheaper per year for 3 years, it's almost like paying for 2 years and getting the third year free.
And we can go through the numbers where, the reviewers scored Gearing higher based on experience, and part of it's probably because they have they've done work for the city, and so they understand the city's operation, and so the incumbent's going to score higher in those areas. It's just a natural ability as long as they're doing a good job.
Right. And I feel that they're using that placency to be able to charge more than the other competitors. And so that's kind of where I feel that, based upon the scoring matrix and the way that I saw the scorers score it, they did not score, the $27,000 the same way as I would see something where one scorer said that difference was only worth 2 points, and another scorer said it was worth a difference of 9 points. 10 points, I'm sorry. So, as I said, I'd like to pass the gavel to make a motion to have it ranked as Risk Management Associates as number 1, the Gehring Group is number 2, and Gallagher is number 3.
Mayor, I'll make the motion. You don't have to pass the gavel. I can make that motion.
All right, thank you. Do we
So
have a
moved.
second? I'd like to second it. Is there any, Vice Mayor?
Just that, when you take out the points related to the annual fee, which is what narrowed that gap down to 6 points. When you look at the other 3 criteria, the gap between the two, I think, was like 20 points. And then when you factored in price, so if you look at just the criteria for the job itself, the Risk Management Associates lost by 20. When you factored in that they had a lowball price, their spread went from 20 to 6. So I don't know if, I understand the spread is only 6, but a good portion of that is because they came in at a low price. It's not necessarily because they were equal in terms of their competence. So I understand and I support situations where we can find a cheaper version of what we're seeking out, but the reason why their point spread is 6 at the end is because they came in at a low price, not because they were so competitive in quality. So I don't know if I can support that at this time. It essentially means that under the same type of rubric, an inferior company that lowballs will appear at the end to have the same tabulation. I think that might be what's happening here. Again, I'm not an expert by any means. I trust the group, so I don't think I can support it at this time.
Yeah, no, I understand. So the Gehring Group got 1 point off of perfect regarding the non-price component because they are the incumbent and they know our system the best. And so if you feel that that's worth the extra funds, where I was an insurance agent 14 years ago, and this is kind of the policy where they have the same access to all the different plans available, and the situation is that our insurance expense is very costly for the city. So
I have a question, and then I won't speak anymore.
Yeah.
So are you saying that the incumbent company has inherent advantages and we should put a term limit on this company and allow a new company to have an opportunity?
Not on term limits, but if it was something in the sense of a point where the incumbent knew everything, knew the system and knew how to play the system, and that's the reason why they know what they're doing. It's our job as the people that are electing the new company who we choose. And so based upon the price point and the ability that they're all responsive and responsible bidders, I felt that trying the new company would be in our best interest. Yes, Commissioner Romulus.
So just further looking into these different ranks, I really see the only big difference that separates them is under the broker access to lines of insurance tab. So what allowed for all three members of the committee to rank Gehrig as a 30 compared to the other two where they gave them lower ranks in that category? Is it because they just don't know because we're not personally working with the other companies, or what?
Well, some of the governmental insurance coverage, you have to be able to access certain pools and certain lines, and not all carriers are going to be, not all brokers are going to be able to access all the different pools for government insurance. So the Gehrig Group, based on their proposal that they submitted, the committee felt obviously that they had access to either some pool that the other one may not have mentioned or put in their proposal, or some other line that we currently have, maybe a specific. You know, you have to remember the three reviewers are the ones that looked at the proposals and reviewed the submittals. It's based on what the company submitted, and like Vice Mayor stated, the pricing is the major difference at this point. And in an RFP, that's what happens, is the price is a component of the evaluation. And when someone when there's a disparity in the price, like this is, it upsides down the scoring. You know, I'm not going to sit and say one is better than the other, one company is better than the other, but the pricing is what's driving, you know.
Right.
Do we have experience with that company? No, we don't have experience with that company.
Right, and so that's, for me, that's the thing that's sticking out the most, that the other three categories that are being considered, they're fairly neck and neck in terms of the ranking. Where the discrepancy or the disparity really happens is the ranking of the fees. That's the only thing that really changes the difference between these three companies that we're comparing. So it's almost as if you're saying, or these members of the committee are saying, that for the most part these companies are all well qualified. We just like the one that, you know, that we've been working with. And so,
Well, and they feel that the categories that are non-price related, that Gehrig has come out with a better score. You know, this is in essence of what an RFP does. If not, we would do a straight bid and award to the low bidder. But there's always questions about awarding to low bidders and the quality of the low bid. So under an RFP process, price becomes a factor, but it doesn't become the ruling factor.
right, and so that's exactly what I'm saying, where I don't see that difference being made that much in the other categories except for really the pricing. So it's almost to me as if they are just as qualified, maybe just slightly a little bit less, you know, because of the preference of experience that the city or the members of the committee have. But I don't see that much of a difference in the other categories that are being decided.
Yeah, one was 7 points, one was 10 points, and one was 3 points. But, you know, those three categories total 70 points, and when you add up the spread on the three categories, you're talking 20 points out of 70 points. So is that a large enough spread to give a comfort level that a higher price is worth it? The committee felt it was.
Right, Commissioner Pensurga?
There you go.
Now it is.
All right, Tim, if the second ranked company is chosen, hypothetically, would that put the city at an operational disadvantage? Would it change the quality of getting things done?
Strictly by paper, no. With having no experience with a second low company, you wouldn't be able to really answer that until we enter into the contract and start processing. But it would, I mean, we change vendors for multiple things throughout the year. So it wouldn't change deadlines or timelines. But you don't know what the working relationship is until you start it. Could it be just as good? Most certainly, it could. Could it be not so good? Yeah. We take that risk every time we make an award.
Let's say it's not so good. Is that something that can be easily repaired from your experience? I'm trying to weigh how heavy the consequences are.
The consequences if we enter into an agreement and they fail to perform, we would have a termination clause in the agreement that we could exercise through legal. I think in this instance, without, if I remember the basic professional agreement, the termination clause is probably a 30-day notice. Since it's a 3-year contract, this service is used annually when they go out and get the line of service and bring back to us. You'd probably get through the first year, and then if you don't have a good relationship, you would request a termination through legal. How smoothly that would go, our expectation is based on our agreement language, it would go smoothly. There's never a guarantee when you terminate a contract or an agreement.
Could I just add that we've built into this form contract easier out for the city, that the city reserves the right to terminate, so there's less likelihood of a challenge to that type of termination.
Thank you.
But what that does do, if you do terminate, you start the process all over again.
Pay more.
So you put the RFP back out on the street, you have a 30-day window, so you have a break that you've got to try to cover.
How often does this happen? How often does these termination of contracts happen? I'm trying to understand the value of just keeping the same company, or...
I've been here 10 years, and I think I've terminated maybe 2
All right, thank you.
contracts.
Vice Mayor?
So just to point out, when you take away the cost factor points, one company, the one that received the recommendation, received 209 points. The second place company received 189, and the third 184. So while the argument can be made that second and third place are almost indistinguishable on their qualities based on the score, the recommended firm almost scored 10% higher. So, I mean, a simple way to look at this is one company got a 95 on a test and the other 2 got 85s or 83s. Which one would you be more comfortable with? And then obviously how much of a premium would you pay on that? I just worry that if we're going to overrule the objective rankings of the team purely based on cost, and that it opens a door to any number of future similar situations. Again, as much as I want to save money, the second place and third place teams definitively scored almost 10% or more less on their merit. So I don't know if there's plenty of places. We got our budget books with us for the budget workshops coming up in the summer. If there's a desire to save money, there's a lot of paper to go through. I can't see supporting a firm that came, again, almost 10% less purely based on the fact that their lowball cost skewed the results.
All right. Is there any other comments from the board? We have a motion and second. All those in favor? Okay. All those in favor state so by saying
Could you
aye.
repeat the motion?
The motion on the board is to re-rank the rankings. I'll get the names.
Well, we can't.
It's my motion. It's to accept Risk Management Associates as the winning bid instead of Garrett Group as recommended by the committee.
Right, we can't re-rank them, but someone could recommend the second place.
That's
We
my
can't just
motion.
rewrite.
Yep. All right. I second. All right. All those in favor state so by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed?
No.
Motion passes 3-2. The next item is item D, approve utilizing Town of Palm Beach invitation to bid 2018-12 with custom tree care for an estimated annual expenditure of $65,000 for tree trimming and pruning services. The Town of Palm Beach's procurement process satisfies the city's competitive bid process. Board, I'm going to open up to public comment first.
Thank you. David Katz, 67 Midwood Lane, our fair city. You can indulge me for 30 seconds. If anybody on the board wants to have a conversation about the history of term limits or how the single-member districts came into being in the city, having a bit of institutional knowledge, I'd be more than happy to have that discussion with you. Okay. In seeing this item on the agenda and looking in the backup, I said, riddle me this back, man. Why are we using a company out of Topeka, Kansas? And I did speak to staff about this. Go to find out that a former Public Works employee sort of dropped the ball on putting out a bid for local companies, I think as far back as November. Andrew might be able to correct me on that. In the backup, there's an email dated January 3rd, 2019 from a city staff member named Adriana Greco Sabia, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, to a Greg Gathers. He's the owner of this Topeka, Kansas company. And in it, she basically asks if he has any crews in Palm Beach County. And nowhere in the backup shows an answer from him. He didn't answer whether he did or he didn't. Because she says, and I'm paraphrasing, if so, we would like to piggyback the contract so a purchase order could be issued for the tree trimming. So she kind of infers that, we'd like to have you have, a crew in Palm Beach County to issue this purchase order to you. Go to find out his crew is in Pompano Beach, Florida. Not even in Delray, not even in Lantana, not even in suburban Palm Beach County. It's in Pompano Beach, Florida. And I just find it funny that with all the tree trimming companies that are in the city that we would have to do this. Though I understand that because of this dropping the ball, that city staff had to go out and do it on the piggyback of the town of Palm Beach. Now, and hopefully what they'll do is they'll actually formulate a bid for later on so local companies can get these dollars by the city. And I would think that would be the thing we'd want to do. We're always asking developers for CBAs, community benefit agreements, asking them to hire local people. So I don't know why we're dealing with somebody in Topeka, Kansas. It just boggles my mind. I know that the company has contracts in Broward County, maybe even in Palm Beach. Well, we know the town of Palm Beach. But part of the backup says that it'd be okay to renew this with this company for 4 additional 12-month periods. Now, I think that would be criminal to even think about renewing it with this company when we could go ahead and just put it out for bid for local companies to meet it. And I'd appreciate that. I understand you're probably going to have to pass this tonight, but that you direct staff not to ever do this or make sure this never happens again. There are many companies in this city who employ people who live in this city who are involved in that business. And we all know who one of them is anyway. Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner McCray, followed by Commissioner Pensurga.
Thank you. I'd like to ask staff, I'm just saying, the company that we used last year or the year before, didn't we have problems with acquiring money? I'm just saying they owed us money, or I'm trying to have a flashback.
Andrew Mack, Director of Public Works. I don't recall having any issues with the tree trimming companies. We did have problems with some of the landscape maintenance companies, which we did rebid. That was one of the projects we did rebid for this fiscal year. I don't recall any problems with the tree trimming companies.
All right, the purpose of this tree trimming company, this is for what? The hurricanes, or just somebody to run through the city and start cutting trees?
To maintain our trees in advance of the hurricane season, yes. It maintains the integrity of our trees so that they don't blow over and cause damage to themselves.
Okay, let me ask another question. The new guy that we hired, I'm just saying, what do y'all call him again?
His title is Project Manager, Landscape Architect.
Shoot up. Going to say it slow in that mic.
Project Manager, Landscape Architect.
All right. Did he have any comments in regards to this bid? I'm just saying.
No, that was actually one of the reasons that we didn't go out for bid right away, because this allows him to have input into this actual bid that we're going to be putting out eventually. We'll be putting this out next fiscal year.
All right. Let me ask another question another way. Is there any urgency that we have to approve this tonight?
Yeah, there are trees that we need to get trimmed for the remainder of the year to make sure that we ensure they don't get damaged during hurricane season.
Okay, let me ask it another way. Why we did not use companies like local companies? I'm just saying, in Boynton. Why we did not? I'm just saying, we said that we want to patronize businesses within our city. We want to hire local, and I'm trying to figure out what was the problem.
Sure. So part of our procurement code requires that any time we intend to spend more than $25,000 that we either go out for a formal bid or we do a piggyback. Those are our two options that we have. So since this bid was going to be over $25,000, staff looked for, the option is to go out for a bid based on the time that it would take to develop the actual bid documents. Also, we had a transition, as Mr. Cass mentioned, that we transitioned from our former employee to our new project manager landscape. This would allow him time to develop those bid documents and go out to bid, which we intend on doing next fiscal year.
So we could approve this for a one-year period?
Correct. That's what we're asking for.
Okay.
This is only for the remainder of the year.
Okay. I'm okay with it.
Remainder of the fiscal year.
Correct. This is enough money to carry us through the remainder of the fiscal year this year. Yes.
Thank you for
It's a stopgap. It's just a stopgap for the remainder of this year to keep us under contract with someone, and then we will be developing a new scope and going out to formal bid.
And one of the things that we will task, his name's Matthew Doyle, is our new project manager, landscape architect, and we're glad to have him, is we'll actually break this contract up into smaller segments so that we will allow for local participation. We'll probably break it up so that medians and then parks and then city grounds where buildings are will be broken up in three distinct, be able to be awarded in three different areas.
My final question, you think we're getting the best bang for our bucks doing it this way this year?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion to approve.
Second.
Are we have discussion? Commissioner Pinsurga?
Commissioner McCray asked most of my questions. I have one more left. How was it decided?
I should have got that one. Go ahead.
How was it decided to piggyback the town of Palm Beach's contract and not a contract of another town? And the reason I asked this is there was some mention that they're hiring in Pompano. Was it Pompano? Was there another city that had a contract with somebody who had crew more closer to home?
So when we reach out to, typically we do reach out to vendors to find out if vendors that we know that are local or within Palm Beach County or in the surrounding areas, if they do have contracts with other municipalities. That's one way. The other way is we work with our procurement staff. They have access to databases and they search. And we know that we have actually piggybacked the town of Palm Beach contract before. It just so happens that this was the three that they awarded. They had this as their award. So this is something that we've used in the past.
Chosen for historical reasons.
Town of Palm Beach, correct.
Okay.
Vice Mayor?
And just to clarify, the options on extending the contract are at our discretion. It's not automatic. Or
those options are actually for the town of Palm Beach. That's not related to ours. That's just the backup from the town of Palm Beach's contract.
So hypothetically, in 3 months' time or so, when the fiscal year ends, this will be presented to us as an RFP sent out to be broken amongst potential local vendors.
I don't know that we'll make it right in October, but yes, in the beginning of next fiscal year, we will be putting it out for a bid, a formal bid. So, and with piggybacks, you do have to run the risk that town of Palm Beach may not renew their contract. So, they may not be available to us anyway. So that's why we like to have our own contracts. You've already seen that through our painting services bid, our annual asphalt paving. My philosophy is that I'd like to have control over those contracts as well as with the finance department. That gives us more flexibility in managing the contracts instead of having to worry about when they're up for renewal.
Just to clarify something you just said, you said that they have not renewed, the town of Palm Beach has not renewed this.
They have.
So it's possible that this may be all for naught.
No, they have renewed it.
They have
They had
renewed,
the
okay.
options. That the contract, what's referring to the 4 one-year renewals or the renewals, that's the options that the town of Palm Beach has to decide whether they want to renew, similar to what our previous agenda item was.
Thank you.
Are there any further comments from the board? Seeing none, I believe we have a motion and a second. All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Moving on to, public hearing. The City Commission will conduct these public hearings in its dual capacity as local planning agency and City Commission. Proposed ordinance number 19-018. Jim?
An ordinance of the City of Boynton Beach, Florida, amending Land Development Regulations, Chapter 1, General Administration, Article 2, Definitions, Article 3, Relationship to Comprehensive Plan, and Article 4, Redevelopment Plans, Chapter 3, Zoning, and Article 3, Zoning Districts and Overlay Zones, to continue implementation of revisions related to modification of the future land use categories and to other recommendations of the Community Redevelopment Plan, including creation of the Cultural District and Boynton Beach Boulevard overlays, and Chapter 4, Site Development Standards, correcting references to overlays, providing for conflict, severability, codification, and an effective date.
I have a motion to approve.
A move.
Second.
All right. Would anyone like from the public would like any questions or comments on second reading of this ordinance? Does the staff want a second presentation? Does the board want a second presentation from staff? Seeing no answer, I'm going to ask for a roll call, please.
Commissioner Romulus,
Yes.
Commissioner Pensurga,
Yes.
Mayor Grant,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Katz, Commissioner McCray.
Yes.
Score 5-0.
All right. Proposed ordinance number 19-019.
An ordinance of the City of Boynton Beach, Florida, amending the Land Development Regulations, Chapter 4, Site Development Standards, creating a new Article 12 entitled Fertilizer Use Regulations, providing for conflict, severability, codification, and an effective date.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion from the public regarding ordinance number 1919? Any discussion from? Yep.
Having had experience with chemicals when I was in the chemical business for, for swimming pools, and what's happening with all these types of chemicals, I'd like the commission to be very careful on what's happening to our water system, which we have a good one here in the city of Boynton Beach, thank God, clear water. Be very, very careful on what goes in and what chemicals are used. You have to stay on it because there are companies that sometimes what's done, and from my experience, change compounds and change a little of this and a little of that. So there's got to be a watchdog on this. Extremely important. Thank you.
Yes, Vice Mayor.
So just for your knowledge, the purpose of this ordinance will be to further restrict or control the use of existing chemicals that are approved, to help ensure that pollution and a byproduct from them decreases. So that the purpose of this is not necessarily, it's not to enhance or use more chemicals, it's actually to restrict the use to provide better protection for the environment.
No, I believe we got first and second. Would the board like a presentation from the staff? Seeing none, may I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Pensurga,
Yes.
Mayor Grant,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Katz,
Yep.
Commissioner McCray,
Yes.
Commissioner Romulus.
Aye.
The vote is 5-0.
Moving on to legal.
Mayor, excuse me, before we
Yes.
move on to legal, I'd like to make a comment tonight, an observation, and that is, Mr. Sheriff, I sat up here tonight, and I seen you several times where you wanted to make a comment, and I'm just, we were discussing things, and I'm kind of baffled, because we're paying you, and if there's something that we're doing wrong, I'm just saying, I'd like for people to, Mayor, you could just watch and find out when he wants to give us a comment. I'm just saying we might be doing something.
I'm sorry, I haven't seen his hand raised.
Well, you need to raise it because he's been his facial expressions. I'm just saying,
You're right, Commissioner. There were a couple of times when I did want to jump in, but the commission resolved the issue by their discussion, and I will not hesitate to ever jump in. The five of you together can't stop me when I have to stop you.
All right, thank you. That's what I want to make sure. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Moving on to proposed ordinance number 19-20. Jim.
An ordinance of the City of Boynton Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 10 of the city's Code of Ordinances, garbage, trash, and offensive conditions.
New business? New business.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the thing Joe added.
Thank you. 11. First is IT update. So we got. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
you want to go home and cool it.
Good evening. This is John McNally, the Director of Information Technology Services. I was asked to just talk briefly on the topic of cybersecurity in relation to Commissioner Pasurga's inquiry about latest events relating to situations such as Riviera Beach. I think also Key Biscayne just recently got attacked by malware. City of Stewart probably a month or so ago. I'm not sure if you have specific questions. I was prepared to just give you maybe a brief synopsis of what we have and what I think maybe distinguishes us in a sort of a better position than some of those other municipalities. And before I go much further, the things that we do have in place don't necessarily guarantee that we won't be hit. It just lowers our risk. So I'm hopeful that some of the things that we have here just make it a lot more difficult for a scenario like that to occur because we're doing some items that are considered best practices. So one of the other things, I'll preface this by saying I don't really want to give you too much detail because that then raises our level of risk as well. So some of the things that we're doing to protect ourselves, keeping the bad guys out, we have a modern and up-to-date firewall. I won't give you the brand, but it is what I would consider one of the state-of-the-art appliances that does help keep the bad actors out and the good information in and protects all of our information from those exploits. We also have many servers within our data network. One of the key things as software is running on those devices is to keep them up to date. The current levels of Microsoft operating systems are deployed. When other older versions of the operating system become end of date, we want to try and make sure that we decommission those, replace those, upgrade those with the newest versions, as well as patches that as vulnerabilities are discovered, those patches, those software vendors do provide patch software for them. We try and deploy those as quickly as possible, sort of lowering that threat profile. We do have updated antivirus software, and we do try and push out the signatures for that software as frequently as they are released. One of the key things that we did a couple of years ago was to implement a cybersecurity testing and education program, and many of you, even as commissioners, are sort of exposed to that, the requirement to step through a 45-minute education process that teaches you what to look for in a malicious email, going from the headers, the contents, any payload that seems to be suspicious, hovering over a link before you click it to make sure that it doesn't go to a secondary location other than what is described in the link. And then also, if it reminds you that if you are getting a message that seems to be suspicious in nature, for example, I wasn't really expecting a message from a specific employee, a city manager, an elected official that says, please release these types of funds, it is urgent. Always question that email. Don't take it at face value. So those are the types of things that go into that educational program, and the emails are sent out to staff on a periodic basis. Many of you have received ones that kind of look a little suspicious. You hover over it, you either report it to the IT department, or you delete it, or use a tool that we have embedded in the Outlook email software that allows you to report that as a phishing link. So those types of tests and somewhat tricks are intended to just keep you on your toes and make sure that you're aware of what to look for, what to avoid, and prevent us from having an issue. We've also deployed a couple of years ago an enhanced data storage, which comes with the ability to replicate our storage from our main data center to a remote co-location site. So that co-location site is away from our geographic area and is protected behind additional firewalls, so that backup data, if we were to need it, is held in a secure location. We are audited by...
How often do we back up? Are we backing up every day?
We back up every few minutes.
Okay, thank you.
We do take snapshots, I believe, probably between 10 and 15 minutes apart, so that it's just basically taking just those delta changes from the previous one, and so those are replicated both locally and off-site, so that if we did have to recover from some type of an event, we would have more abilities to recover and lose less data. We are audited by two separate entities. One is part of the financial audit, and they did come back with some recommendations, one of them I believe being passwords being more secure, which at their recommendation we went ahead and implemented some of those changes. And then every few years we get an external IT audit by an entity who we create a statement of work. We ask them to go ahead and blindly try and find out as much about us and try and penetrate our network, tell us what we have. And then when they come back and they say, oh, okay, you have such a list of public-facing devices, we will then tell them, okay, now here is what you missed, if that is the case, and here are our list of servers that maybe you missed one or two. Try and test these now for external vulnerabilities, and then we'll take those recommendations and see if there's anything that needs to be remediated and apply that. And then they also do an internal vulnerability assessment of our major servers. So they come, they check our servers for operating system levels, they check for patch software, any services that might be open on them that might not be needed and are considered vulnerable. So they'll give us that recommendation. We'll apply the remediations as necessary. And then
John,
yes.
You're making me nervous. I think you've told us enough.
Okay, I'm
I don't
sorry.
want to hear anymore because I feel like we're giving it all away. So stop.
Okay.
I'm good. I feel comfortable.
John,
I feel okay.
I just have one question, John. You've answered most of my questions.
Okay.
We're all human. We're all going to make a mistake at some point in time, right? The saying is, it's not if, it's when. Are systems compartmentalized?
Yes.
So should someone make a mistake in one department, it doesn't affect the entire system?
Our network is segmented. It's departmentalized not by specific departments and names of departments, but it is segmented by geographic networks. So we subnet our network by, say, City Hall. And when we get to the new building, it will probably be segmented by floors and then separated by other remote buildings. So if there is, and our data center is on another segment at another location. So it does lower the, I guess, that profile, that vulnerability threshold, so that if something were to occur in a geographic or a network segment, it in theory, would be isolated at that location.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry.
Commissioner McCray?
Thank you. I have a comment. I want to say thank you for having us. When we click the wrong thing, they have to come back and take that little brief thing, Okay, you got me. Okay, I had to do it. Okay.
And I get an email telling me when that happens to you.
I'm going to brag for a little bit.
So
I
it's
passed
doing its
this
job.
morning. I passed this morning. There was one that was sent to me, and I was like, aha.
Excellent, excellent.
If I don't know it, I don't click it.
All right. Now we are looking at just staying up on the current trend. As malware develops, they're going to start using artificial intelligence as an engine to try and outsmart the prevention. So we have to always keep up on latest technologies and implement things that will sort of keep us, hopefully, that one step ahead.
I think a question I'd like to ask that maybe is not relevant to you, John, but to our city manager or to our city attorney. Is there insurance for what's...
I don't have the details of our coverage, but we do have cybersecurity insurance coverage.
Good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, I like to say, it was helpful for me to go back through and refresh and let staff know when they have to go and refresh that. The commissioners, we have to go back and refresh too. We're human too, because I try to get y'all to change my password, but you wouldn't do it.
Thank you very much, John.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, John.
Our next item, 11B, update from our police chief, Michael Gregory, regarding the new July 1st no texting while driving.
Michael Gregory, Police Chief. Good evening, Commissioners. As We've heard the topic. There's been a lot of attention over the last few years with regard to texting and driving and what's been framed as distracted driving. As of July 19th of this, or July 1st of 2019, there is a new statute that's in effect. There is some nuances to it, and it's could be a little confusing, so I'm going to read it to you, and hopefully it'll be in the record correctly if I do it that way. So starting July 1st, 2019, Florida motorists can be stopped and cited for texting and driving. The first violation for drivers is a non-moving offense with no points assessed to the driver's record. The second violation is a moving violation with 3 points assessed to the driver's record. In most circumstances, Florida Highway Patrol and a number of agencies will be issuing warnings very far almost into the end of this calendar year, December 31st of 2019. And we'll also be doing information campaigns on social media and flyers and other means of putting the word out to everyone to let them know the changes that are taking place. Effective starting October 1st of 2019, wireless communication devices can only be used in a hands-free manner when driving in a designated school crossing, school zone, or an active work zone area like on 95 or the Turnpike, those construction sites. Drivers will be issued warnings through the end of this calendar year, December 31st, and then starting January 1st, there'll be full enforcement, and drivers will be cited for using wireless communication devices in a handheld manner when in a work zone or a school zone. So that's the crux of it. There's two components. They discuss basically the place that you're using your device and when these go into effect, and I'll entertain any questions you may have about those.
All right, I got a few. So, for example, if I can still hold the phone to my ear, is that currently allowed?
As far as holding it to your ear, I'd probably say you'd be safer not to. So it should be hands-free.
Okay.
So you want to be hands-free. So you use your speakerphone and have it connected to one of those little mounts that you put on the air conditioner venter and your cup holder, and then use it with the speakerphone or through your vehicle's computer system.
Okay. So, again, if I'm holding the phone, is that a violation under Florida law?
I would say technically, probably not, because the law actually is written such that you have to be typing in characters and numbers. But it's the spirit of the law is that you're doing it hands-free and you're not distracted when you have both hands on the steering wheel. So there's the spirit and there's the technical piece of the law.
So if you see someone without their hands on the steering wheel, yes, let's pull them over.
No.
All right, thank you. I'll go down the line. Commissioner Pensurga?
Thank you, Chief. I like the spirit of the law. The intention is very good. I don't think anybody could be against it. But I'm concerned that it may be abused for profiling, because how can you be sure somebody was texting versus holding the phone and just quickly glancing? Have there been any discussions on how you would tease that apart to minimize any sort of profiling?
Well, yes. First of all, the profiling element has to do with who you're stopping and the rationale for the stop in the first place. And regardless of whether you're doing that for the distracted driving purpose or for someone with seatbelt not fastened or any other type of violation of law, we train our officers regularly that that type of conduct is not condoned, it's inappropriate, it's unethical, and they are not to be doing it here, and it is a violation of our policy to do so. So that's a bigger issue of using ruses or profiling for alternative purposes. So we don't do that when it comes down to targeting a protected class or by race or ethnicity or anything of that nature.
How do you ensure someone was actually texting?
Again, the statute literally speaks to typing in characters, numbers, and engaging the keyboard with your fingers and manipulating it, or the screen with your fingers and manipulating it. It's observable. Someone was asking, how do you see that? You actually can witness that unless they have smoked out dark tinted windows, of course, which is also illegal in Florida, and you can get a citation for that as well.
All right.
Commissioner McCray?
Thank you. Chief, I heard what you said. How do we enforce this with PD and city employees?
Police department employees, fire department employees, there are a number of groups, including those that are exempted from this statute.
They are exempt.
Yes, when it comes to doing their official duties. So it does not apply to them.
A bummer.
All right.
Well, you got there are additional exceptions. So the law takes into account that today's vehicles are very computer-based, and there's digital screens, perhaps for your air conditioner, perhaps for the radio. Your navigational system are all now flat screen TVs in your car, or computer screens in your car for the most part. So the law takes into account that you may be touching the screen in a vehicle to navigate, or to turn down the radio, or turn up the air conditioner. That would not be a violation. So those things are protected by the statute. But if you have the cell phone, which pretty much everyone can recognize these days, and you're typing on the screen there continuously, that would start to become reasonable suspicion for an officer to pull you over.
Vice Mayor?
So just to point out, and like Commissioner Pensurga said, I don't think many people could oppose this type of law, but I guess in an effort to get it passed, it was watered down almost to a point that it really can't be enforced. I have a screenshot. I'll read it real quick from the statute, because I was talking to this with people the other day. A law enforcement officer who stops a motor vehicle for a violation of paragraph A must inform the motor vehicle operator of his or her right to decline a search of his or her wireless communication device, and may not access the communication device without warrant, confiscate the wireless communication device while awaiting issuance of a warrant, obtain consent from a motor vehicle operator to search his or her communication through coercion or improper method. So there's language in the statute that, one, says you have to tell people you don't have to show me your phone, which is basically the only evidence, because also written into the law is that you can be typing on your phone in motion if it's for GPS purposes. So it's a good step in the right direction. What I compare this to is if you're in a school, there's either a dress code or there's a uniform, and when you try to implement a dress code, it's a disaster because it's a spectrum and you can't prove what's appropriate, inappropriate, but a uniform is clear cut. The future of this law, if the state sees to truly take it seriously or more seriously, is to do what other states have done, which is you're not allowed to touch your phone for any reason while the car's in motion. So it's currently difficult to enforce. Obviously, no one should be texting and driving and doing all that, but as far as profiling concerns and things like that, every person pulled over for this offense has to be notified that they don't have to reveal any information from their phone, and that, sadly, for the sake of enforcing the law, it almost renders it impossible to enforce. But it's a good effort and a good step in the right direction.
Vice Mayor, thank you for making that clarification. It's very important that people know that you do not have to give your phone.
All right. Commissioner Romulus?
I'll just clarify, though, that doesn't prevent you from being cited. So while what you stated is accurate, Commissioner, I would not want to give the public the false impression to challenge the police while they're being stopped on the side of the road. That would not go very well, and they should not be encouraged to take such actions as to get into an argument, debate over the phone or over any of the other circumstances that led to that traffic stop. That's not the venue for it, as we're all well aware. The venue would be in court, traffic court. Accept your citation, go see your attorney or your representative, and go to court and deal with that controversy there.
Well said.
Commissioner Romulus?
In respect to the conversation regarding profiling, Chief, I'd just like to know, what are we doing, in addition to bias training and different things, what are we going to do to make sure that our numbers are reflective of making sure that we stay in our lane and not targeting people improperly?
Well, to our advantage, we've been down this road before, and that is with the seatbelt law. And so the legislature, in their infinite wisdom, saw it appropriate to include language in that statute that requires the police to get training, as well as we also have to report and document who these citations issued as far as race and ethnicity. They've included that same language into this statute for distracted driving. So we have to report those statistics as far as the race and ethnicity of those who receive these distracted driving citations to the Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we do have to, the officers are required for their certification to be retrained regularly into ethical behavior and the fact that profiling is unethical and illegal, and we do not support it here, and a violation of our policy as well.
And so based on that report that you need to provide to the FDLE on a yearly basis, I'd like for us as a commission to receive access to that information as well.
Yes, it is a public record.
Okay. So if that could, would you be able to compile that either semi-annually or annually for the commission to see?
Yes.
Thank you.
Chief, we got a comment from the public, if you don't mind stepping aside.
Oh, certainly.
Susan Oyer, 140 Southeast 27th Way. Vice Mayor Katz briefly mentioned this, but I wanted to double check because I hadn't seen it anywhere in the papers. What is the status on using your cell phone for navigation? Because while Bluetooth is pretty much standard in every car for the last several years, I think I'm on like my third or fourth car with Bluetooth, sat nav is a substantial investment, so I think a lot of people like me just use their cell phone and Google. So is that allowed? And I just want to make sure it was on the record.
Very good question. Like we mentioned earlier, there are a number of exemptions, and navigation and GPS is an exemption for use of the cell phone in the vehicle. So you are allowed to use it.
All right. Commissioner Ramos.
Last question, I'd just like to get clarification on, from what I've read, I understand that if you're at a red light or at a stop sign, you may use your phone as long as the vehicle is not in motion. Am I correct in stating that?
Yes, you are. The vehicle does need to be in motion for it to be a violation. If you are stopped at a traffic signal or stopped at a stop sign and then you text or use your device, that would be acceptable.
Thank you, Chief, for clarifying.
Absolutely.
All right.
Pleasure.
Thank you. All right. Moving on to item 11C, approve the tuition of $2,000 for Commissioner Romulus to attend the Palm Beach County Leadership Engage program. I know this is a walk-on matter, so I'm going to read the explanation of request for the public. Commissioner Romulus has been accepted into the Palm Beach County Leadership Engage program. The program tuition is $2,300. Commissioner Romulus personally paid the application fee of $100 and was also awarded a scholarship of $300 from the Leadership Palm Beach County organization. Each class is made up of 50 to 55 motivated, informed, and diverse professionals who are selected for their leadership and service within Palm Beach County and beyond. Participants meet for one full day each month from September to May and travel as a group on a bus to all parts of the county as they explore program topics such as agriculture, public safety, and healthcare. Participants gain a deeper understanding of their own leadership styles. They also understand the ways in which they can be effective contributors to making significant improvements in our area. In addition, they build lasting professional relationships that result in innovative and collaborative problem solving. At the end of the year, many graduates consider the Leadership Engage program to be a life-changing experience professionally and personally. So I'd like to congratulate you for being selected, and I'd also like to congratulate our city manager for being selected. So I think that I've been to a couple of the Leadership Palm Beach County events that they've held with Career Source and other nonprofits throughout the area. I feel that it is a worthwhile investment. We still got you for another 3 years, and I feel that this will definitely enhance your leadership as a commission, and look forward to hearing back from you at least at the meetings of what you did, as my request. Commissioner McCray.
Thank you. What is the total price that we're going to be spending?
$1,000.
$2,000. How much money we have in our account? I'm just saying for the end of the fiscal year.
$8,800 remaining.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and vote for this, but I enjoy people getting out and doing different things. I want people to hear me right, but I really feel like kind of when I see people like kind of, I feel like sometimes it's taking advantage of the system. I'm just saying because it seems like the same person is doing the same thing, and this is the way I feel about this. I'm going to vote in favor of this, but I'm just saying, if there's something that somebody else could do, the younger ones that's coming on here, I'm just saying, y'all need to get out and start beating the bushes. I'm just saying, because it seems like the same person is spending up all the funds, and that's what I'm going to say tonight.
Yes, Lori?
And if I may comment on Commissioner McCrae's comments, the mayor and I actually chatted about it a little bit yesterday about my application to the leadership program, and it's something I've wanted to do for years. It's a highly competitive program. They did indicate this year they received the most applications in the history of the program. And I encourage each one of you at some point, I would not each the same year. I'm amazed the both of us got in, because typically I don't think they'll take two people from the same organization. So when I didn't know Commissioner had applied and I had applied, and when I found out, I thought, oh Lord, but we actually we did well on our applications because we were accepted. But I would encourage the commission, every one of you at some point, if you have the opportunity here as elected officials, to apply for that program. It's phenomenal.
My question now is to the city manager. Who's picking up your tab?
The city is.
Okay, so
Yes,
that's $4,000. I'm just saying taxpayers' money, but we have to be cognizant of some things that we do. I'm through with it. Thank you.
All right. Requesting a motion for Commissioner Romulus.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion from the board? Seeing none, all those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Now we're moving on to legal. Jim?
Ordinance 19020, an ordinance of the City of Boynton Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 10 of the city's Code of Ordinances, Garbage, Trash, and Offensive Conditions, Article 2, Refuge, Garbage, and Trash, Section 1030, Rates and Charges for City Services, allowing solid waste rates to be set by resolution, providing for conflict severability codification, and an effective date.
May I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
What is the rate charge that we're charging citizens now, and then what is this going to do?
This ordinance effectively removes the rates from the Code of Ordinances, and it'll be set by commission by resolution. So there's no changes to the rates with this actual ordinance. At the second reading, we will be presenting the resolution with the rates at that time. There's no rate changes for residential proposed.
No rate changes for residential, just for commercial.
Correct. We
That's
are
the part
proposing some
sir,
rates.
That is the part I need to hear, because I'm just saying, I'm hearing it from citizens, all the time saying that, we're paying too much for the services that we're getting. They're not up to par, and I'm just making sure that what we're doing, I'm hearing what we're doing.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Andrew, did we in the past approve a rate hike for the next few years?
Yes, at our previous, the previous rate, at the previous adoption of the ordinance, we have approved a rate increase over the next 2 fiscal years.
Okay. And is that for commercial or only?
That includes residential. That was already
Residential.
previously approved.
Okay, and that's not going to happen this year?
It'll be a part, it's already in the ordinance, so it'll be a part of the resolution.
So this is only for future future resolutions after the current ordinance?
It'll be presented to you, correct. You can make changes at the time of the ordinance or the resolution.
Okay. Thank you. Is there other questions from the board? Did we get a first and a second? Thank you. May I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Grant.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Katz.
Yes.
Commissioner McCrae.
Yes.
Commissioner Romulus.
Aye.
Commissioner Pensurga.
Yes.
The vote is 5-0, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ordinance 19021, an ordinance of the City of Boynton Beach, Florida, authorizing the partial abandonment of an existing 11-foot by 30-foot wide portion of a utility easement along the Woolbright Road as part of the Wawa project located at Woolbright Road and Congress Avenue, subject to staff comments, authorizing the city manager to execute a disclaimer which shall be recorded with this ordinance in the public records of Palm Beach County, Florida, and providing an effective date.
All right. May I have a motion to approve?
Move.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Do we have an answer when the Wawa is going to be finished?
They're working on it. They're still waiting on some county issues with a county right-of-way permit.
Okay.
They're
Yes.
good with us. They're just waiting on the county.
All right. It seems we have a public comment.
Yeah, I have a question. I live right on between Congress and Southwest 26, right off Woolbright. I know where Wawa is going. I'm for it. as I said before, the utilities, is that the one next to the fire station? I'm a little mixed up because where Wawa is going, it says something about a utility. Where exactly is that utility? Is that by the,
It's on, there's a map in the backup. It's along Woolbright Road.
no, the utility, there's a utility next
No, no,
to
no,
a
that's,
7-Eleven.
it's,
Is that,
no. A utility is a square, is a box that may be no wider than 4 feet by 2 feet.
all right, terrific.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate, Colin?
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you. We have hundreds of utilities here? Thousands?
Thousands of utility easements all over the city.
Okay. All right. And so, any further comments from the board? Seeing none, may I have a roll call, please?
Vice Mayor Katz, Commissioner McCray,
Yes.
Commissioner Romulus,
Aye.
Commissioner Prince-Surga,
Yes.
Mayor Grant.
Yes.
Score is 5-0. The vote is 5-0.
All right. Score.
Been watching too much tennis.
So, proposed resolution number R19-070. It is approving the reasonable accommodation policy that has been approved by the Housing of Urban Development. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion from the
Yes,
board?
discussion. Anybody get a hard copy of this? Thank you.
Any further discussion from the board? Seeing none, all those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next, we have approving of the non-discrimination policy. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Yes.
Since I got this one so fast, can I get one of R19-071 too, please? Thank you.
And this also has non-discrimination policy been approved by HUD. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Seeing none, motion passes unanimously. And we are finished with items. Is there anything else the board would like to say before 4th of July?
Yes, Chief Gregory, before you leave, I'd like to see you, please. I'd like to make a statement in the public so that you won't run off and leave me. Thank you. Go ahead.
All right. Well, I look forward to seeing all of everyone here at our 4th of July event, and very excited to see the professionals do the hydroplate. I'm sure
Yes.
Ty
They'll be much better at it than me.
is looking forward to it. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.